please use the microphone?
Absolutely. And so Dr. Benton teaches at Texas State University. I am in forensic social work and private practice and family law, involved a lot with child welfare working agencies. And so we did some research on specifically the education models in available for child welfare working agencies. So we have, it's not a new problem, the turnover in child welfare workers, and it's across the U.S. One of the ways in which we are addressing that is by partnering child welfare working agencies with social work programs through the Title IV-E. And this allows stipends that will then guarantee employment post-graduation. For us, we used a convenience sample that was a part of a larger study that came from 17 different universities in California. And we kind of broke them into leavers and stayers, those who chose to keep working for child welfare after their obligation and those who stayed. For us, the primary part of our demographics were stayers, people who chose to remain employed with child welfare agencies. And these interviews that we did were conducted about 6 to 8 months after the contractual obligation ended. And so for what we asked, there was a larger interview completed, but where we focused our analysis was whether or not that education prepared them for the job that they would be doing after graduation. And we really wanted to know what they were best prepared for and what they were least prepared for. And that brought up 5 major themes for us. In the university specific, it was whether or not the program focus benefited them. They spoke about clinical skills and rapport and assessment skills. And then whether or not they were prepared in terms of what they were facing for morale in child welfare agencies and their interactions with various systems.
Okay, so just going into a little bit more detail. So for university specific, best prepared, both stayers and leavers talked about the field at the internship, the final field, which makes sense. That was definitely my case in my MSW, was that was the most important part of my education that best prepared me for going out into the world. Not prepared, they talked about not having enough practical skills. So the idea that, okay, I went to this program, it was micro, it was a clinical social work program, so I know how to do therapy, but I'm not allowed to do that in child welfare. And so this kind of disconnect between what they got trained on, even in their Title IV program, and what actually the skills they needed once they were actually on there. Next theme, worker technical skills. So overall, when asked what were you best prepared for, these types of elements were what came up most. So there were folks who said they were ready for some of the practical skills in terms of risk assessment, building rapport, cultural diversity, which is good. We should be happy that that is something they're feeling good and ready to be prepared for. Not prepared for was time management. So not having a real understanding of everything they were going to have to do in the job. So example, if you had a field placement, but you only had 4 clients in your field placement, it was not really truly a full-on realistic job preview for them. So then with the worker psychological aspects. So we did have stayers who said they felt prepared. They felt emotionally prepared for the job, for what they were going to have to do. Leavers had no common answers to this question. Out of 100 leavers, only 2 brought up anything that was coded worker psychological aspects. So again, so stayers are feeling better prepared for that piece, leavers not. In terms of not prepared, they both stayers and leavers talked about the stress, the nature of the job. And this quote is just, it's kind of exhausting, right? They don't tell you that morale is low, people are unhappy, social workers don't get treated well, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, yes, okay, that's kind of a bummer. Job agency aspects, best prepared. Interestingly, courts came up as both best prepared by some stayers and leavers and not prepared for by other stayers and leavers. And so there should be another not prepared little wording here. This is our little oversight. So that could be school specific, right? It's taken from 17 schools. So some might be doing court and others aren't. Not prepared organizational culture of child welfare agencies. So again, the bureaucracy, all the hoops you have to jump through, the lack of actual real honor of social work, having folks that don't really think much about having an MSW, and just the culture in general. They were not prepared for the culture of child welfare with their social work. Clients best prepared. Again, we're going to see some differences here. Stayers did talk about learning about dual diagnosis and how important that was, and other mental illness and all these things that happen with the family. Leavers, again, almost no one had anything to say that they were best prepared for in regards to clients. So again, we see a discrepancy there on what stayers are prepared for. both groups also then said they weren't prepared for the complexity. So again, it's a different stayer. Some stayers felt they were prepared for the complexity, others did not, but were still able to stay on board. And then leavers definitely did not feel prepared for the complexity, the alcohol, the dual diagnosis, the mental illness, all the different things going on with their families. So similarities for stayers and leavers is that they felt they were prepared for some of the technical aspects, but not prepared for the high caseloads, the inability to do social work. Differences are, again, that stayers did seem to have more emotional preparedness for the job, leavers did not. So some implications are we teaching social workers to work in bureaucracies? Do they get a real clear understanding of how agencies are different from what they're learning in best case social work environment? Also, schools that are not doing court system in their education should be doing court systems in their education so that our child welfare workers are better prepared. For child welfare agencies, again, supervision, as we know, is very important, so just making sure that everyone is getting quality supervision. If you have high caseloads and there's not a lot of money for other supports, definitely putting in some kind of peer supervision, and then also looking at the climate of the agency and how can you fix that so that there isn't such a huge discrepancy between that climate and social work values. All right, thank you.